about another one of our most favorite states.
Still think it's Pennsylvania.
Massachusetts. We stayed at Thousand Trails Park in Massachusetts called Gateway to Cape Cod. It's close to Cape Cod, not directly in it, I guess. We stayed for 3 weeks. We really enjoyed our time in Massachusetts. In the park, we originally parked in the B section, which is like hills and dips and...
Not suitable for campers.
Yeah. We got into a spot. So we arrived late. Like there was traffic or something. We got there later. Like we didn't get there like at check-in or something. You know, we got there later than we should have. And all the spots in the front big section for the bigger rigs were taken. So we went to the B section and we pulled into a spot and the camper was like this and the truck was like this and it was really bad. So
we weren't even sure we were going to be able to unhook the truck.
Yeah.
Which we did. I think we just had to raise the camper way up to get the truck out. But then I don't know. It was a nightmare. So
I convinced Clint to move the next day, you know, after people had checked out. Took us about an hour, probably, to get out of the spot because it was that bad. Like, there was a tree that we were about this far from hitting, and we had to back up, and we were about this far from hitting another camper. And it just took a lot of, you know, me telling Clint, you know, hey, turn your wheel this way and come back this way, and, you know, inching. Like, one of the seasonals came out, and we're like, I can't believe you got into that space or out of it. You know, it was rough. But once we moved up to the A section, we loved it. It was sandy and dirt, and it rained a lot while we were there. But besides that, we loved the park. The kids also made friends with the neighbors next door. Super sweet kids, and they absolutely blossomed.
Yeah, completely changed their lives. We barely see them now. Yeah. So they love playing. But yeah, the park was nice once we moved. It's one of the parks that inspired the carpet video. Getting rid of all the carpet because it was so nasty.
Yeah.
When it rained there.
The problem is there's a lot of pine trees, so like I guess, you know, you're not going to get grass to grow when it's all shaded.
Also on that park, do not trust the map. They look like the site we were in first. It's a pull through, but there's no way you could pull our camper through without ripping the back half of the camper off because of the steep incline. And a lot of them were like that in that B section.
Yeah.
A section was great. C section looked like smaller spots, but it was also all flat. Mm-hmm. So avoid B. But that was not why we liked Massachusetts.
No.
It's all the other stuff.
It's all the stuff we did. One of the first things that we did was we decided, hey, we skipped Rhode Island. We wanted to take a road trip, go into Rhode Island, and one of the things that we wanted to do there was the cliff walk. And it was amazing.
Incredible experience.
Like, you think, like, oh, go walk along the beach, or, you know, go walk along the ocean, you know, done that thousands of times. It was really good. Really, really. Like, it was just gorgeous, listening to the rocks. Right now, we're in Maine, so similar to, like, you know, walking along Acadia and stuff, but it was so unexpected. And the houses are gorgeous, you know, that you're walking up behind. And there was, like, some cool tunnels and stuff that the kids liked, and a lot of rocks to walk on and hop on. And
we're really used to sandy beaches, so being where it looks like the country just ends all of a sudden was pretty unique for us.
we're really glad that we took that trip over.
Yeah, it was awesome.
One of the other things that we did was visit the Plimoth Patuxet Museum. They have an old English village that's like the original Plymouth village from when the Pilgrims came over. It's a reproduction. It's not the original site, but it's a reproduction of the village. And like they even, if you look at like certain maps and stuff, it will have the houses of like certain prominent pilgrims that, when the kids and I have been studying early U.S. history for this trip. I mean, it was a good subject to start anyways, but I specifically wanted to do early U.S. history because, hey, we're visiting all this birthplace of America stuff, and I thought it would be really cool to visit those places and see the stuff that we're learning about, and so I think I geeked out a lot more than everybody else did. It seems to be that way with this historical stuff. I geek out way more than anybody else, but I enjoyed it. We paid about $110 for the 4 of us. He was free. We did get some kind of homeschool discount. I did not apparently take a picture of the receipt, and I don't remember how much it was, but it was $110. We did not do the tour of the Mayflower, which is like further into the city of Plymouth, since we had just done the ships in Jamestown.
I've got these actors that they live as if they're just from this time, so they don't know anything beyond this point. Although they do have microphones, so kind of weird, but...
One of the other things that we really enjoyed doing in Massachusetts was visiting lots of beaches. They do, a lot of them charge, just like they did in like New Jersey and all, but there's generally like a booth that when you pull in to pay, when you pull into park, you can pay an attendant. But we found that a lot of times if you go after like a certain time, it's free. So with Clint working, especially during the week, that's what we would do. We would just go after 4 or 5 o'clock and we would get in free. After we had done the Plymouth Museum, we went to Plimoth Beach and we got in there free because it had just been raining. So I guess they decided they weren't going to charge for the rest of the day. So we got to go in there for free, and that was fun. Very cold, but fun. We also visited Mayflower Beach, which was gorgeous. We went there to do tide pulling because I read that it was a good tide pulling beach, but the sunset was amazing. And the water was just like gorgeous.
It's probably one of the prettiest beaches we've ever been to, I think.
And it just went on forever. There were so many people too. And even with all of the people, it was amazing.
And we saved some people's keys in the water and
I found a set of keys in the water because the tide was coming in. Brought them over to Clint. I was like, hey, you got to figure out who these are for. So he started walking towards...
Just looking for people panicking.
And there was a lady that came panicking. And she's like, oh my gosh, thank you.
Playing in the tide pool. Cheeto! Tide pool, ocean. Ocean meets tide pool. There's Sarah and my kids right there.
Another beach that we visited, I can't remember the name of it, but it was in Falmouth. We went to view the 4th of July fireworks on the 5th of July because they'd gotten like fogged out or whatever on the 4th. And then it was also super foggy on the 5th. So we just did our best to find a public beach because there were a lot of private beaches there that were only for like residents and stuff. So we found a public beach. We went after 5 o'clock, so we were able to get in free, and we went there and swam, and the fog rolled in over the water, and it looked really cool, like that sea mist thing. Thea, where are we going?
Where are we going, Bubba? No.
Hi. To the beach. Beach. Yeah, these rocks are pretty.
I don't know if these are actually... Ooh. Look. Yeah, all white crystals.
Oh, cool.
It gets foggy in Mississippi a lot, but not like that. You don't get to see it rolling in towards you. So.
I took videos, but you can't tell, so you don't get to see them.
But all the beaches were awesome.
Yeah, we really enjoyed the beaches. The kids' friend's mom also told us about something at Brewster Flats at the Cape Cod Museum of Natural History. I think it only happens during the summer, but they have a couple of programs, and one is called Mudflat Mania. It's like $7 a person, I think, and you get to go out on this trail. I don't remember how long it was, but it was manageable with him. We did some tide pulling there. And the trail in general was just really nice. I wish we would have had more time to spend there, but we got there a little bit late, but that was really fun. The kids got to play and look for things. Theo got to look for things. There were volunteers of the museum that will like show you different creatures that you find and tell you about them and all that kind of stuff. It was really cool and educational.
Probably one of the coolest things we've done the entire trip, but in Massachusetts also, is whale tours. Is it a whale tour?
A whale watching tour.
A whale watching tour. So we went with 7 Seas.
So we decided to do the whale watching in Massachusetts, but we drove way up to almost the southern border of Maine, because we'd heard some people getting rained out and getting rescheduled. So we wanted to make sure that even if we did get rained out and we had to do it once we got to Maine, it was still an easy drive from both directions. So it was convenient to be able to reach it from both places.
Right. Which we're glad we did. We didn't have to reschedule, but the trip that went right before us, it was so foggy that they didn't get to see any whales. And at 7 Seas, I don't know if they do it everywhere, but they guarantee whale sightings. So what that means is that if you don't see any whales on the first trip, you can get on a later trip at another date. So had that happened, we could have just got on when we were in Maine and been fine. So, but for us, we actually got to see a lot of whales. It was a pretty unique trip from what they say. So it was so foggy, they took us out like 45 minutes or an hour longer than normal. Like one way, right?
Something like that.
It was an incredibly long trip, so he passed out on the way back. So there's probably a picture just like this on the boat.
Yeah. It was scary though, because like we're in the harbor and it's gorgeous and we're taking pictures and we get out in the water and we get further and further and the fog just rolls in. And like, you can't see anything.
Nothing.
I was kind of scared. I was like, how do they see? Because like, you can't see. But nothing. And I was like, there's no way we're going to be able to see whales. And they kept going and they kept going. And I'm like, it's this many hours, like, should we still be driving? And then finally, once we got there, they told us, hey, we had to go a lot further, in order to find whales. And really glad they did.
Yeah.
Absolutely worth it.
Yeah, I kept waiting for the black pearl to come out of the fog. But we did get to see the whales, so.
The whale watching was really fun. We saw a bunch of breaches. If you don't know what a breach is, it's when a whale jumps out of the water and dives, lands back in. And there's a bunch of splashing. It doesn't have to have splash, but it just does. So, we saw a bunch of breaching.
So that's tail breaching off at 11 o'clock. So what is happening? What is happening? What is this? I always say, if you're on a trip with me and a double breach happens, you remember how excited that guy that saw a double rainbow got?
The guide was really excited because on the morning tour they didn't see any, so every breach she was like, oh my goodness, this is so rare. And we saw a bunch of breaches and it was really cool. We saw a double breach, which we didn't get on video. But that was super cool. It was awesome. And it's only, the boat ride was 4 hours, but it was worth the while.
Yeah. What kind of whales did we see?
We saw humpback whales. They're cool.
How many do you think we saw?
We saw about, I think, altogether, all of us saw about 30, 40, maybe 40 altogether. I know I saw about 20 or 18.
Well, some of them might have been the same, though. At some point, she said, though, that we had seen, like, 20 different whales or something like that.
Yeah.
I know, that wasn't before the end of the trip or whatever. But
it was like halfway through. She said, like, once we were halfway through looking, like, after, like, 2 hours of sitting. We saw a baby breach, which was super cool.
It was.
But it was humongous, though. It was probably, like, half the size of our camper, which is pretty big.
The other thing that we did in Massachusetts that was really fun and not necessarily like a touristy, I don't know if people do it or not, but we went crabbing. I went and caught crabs, and then cooked the crabs, and then ate the crabs. It was incredible.
Blue crabs, by the way.
Blue crabs.
So Lucas asked us if we could go crabbing while we were in Massachusetts. So I started looking into it and trying to find us some places to go.
On the first day we went crabbing, me, Harper, and Dad all went. So we all went and we didn't catch any good enough sized crabs to eat. That was my goal, to eat crabs. This was really just a test run, really, to see if we were actually good at it. And we caught a bunch of stuff there. And me and Harper both fell into the water, lost our Crocs, and all types of other junk.
Oh, I almost got him, Dad.
Look at this.
That's a big crab right there.
Okay, hold on. Look, Lucas caught it.
And also,
And he fell in the water.
like, that's a crab. That's a crab, guys. Lift it up.
No.
Did I get him?
No. Look at Lucas. He's fully committed. He's just staying in the water now. Filthy. Harper hasn't fell in yet. It's so cool to watch him come up, though. Get ready, Harper.
Ooh, is that a big one?
Feels like it.
I think.
Ah. Explain yourselves.
Look at my feet. I'm trying to help Lucas. He didn't tell me that would sink in. Look at my feet.
Lucas stepped off into this dark stuff, and his shoes
My
gone
shoe
forever.
is gone in there.
And then Harper stepped in to try to help him and has lost her shoe into that hole.
They're gone. Like gone.
They're gone. Look at these two.
Oh my gosh.
Are you kidding?
Okay.
Got a crab trap over here. Hasn't worked really. I'm getting attacked by bugs. So we went crabbing. We lost one shoe and one shoe. So not even a full pair. We get eaten alive. And we only caught stuff that was too small to keep. But it was pretty fun. So Sarah did some research. So being from the coast, we know about fishing laws. So
From the coast of Mississippi.
Yes. So we know how fishing laws go down there. So no license is needed for this particular type. You have to use methods that are active. So it can't be, the cage traps that you put in the water and leave them. It's either got to be the hoop nets or...
Like something you actively,
Right.
like you're there and you're pulling it up. And then I had never heard of using a trot line, which the Walmart there by the park sold them.
Yeah.
So it is kind of almost like a safety pin. You hook your bait onto it, and then there's a weight on it. So, and then it's got a long string. So we took the string, we tied it or wrapped it around a stick, and then we put chicken legs. That's what we use. Chicken legs or chicken necks are apparently good. So we safety pinned the leg on there, and then we just throw it out into the water and then slowly pull it in.
And then the kids or one of us would have a hand net and just scoop them up.
Yeah. And the nets that you see in our videos are not big enough. So if you go to buy nets, ours were literally probably around this big.
The hand nets.
Yeah, get something bigger.
The wider mouth.
Yeah, because it's a lot. They're fast.
We went twice. The first time we didn't catch anything we could keep, but it was so much fun that we went back the next day.
They all came home telling me about it, so I was like, okay, I have to go. I want to go.
But on the second day, we did catch some good-sized crabs. We caught 8. It was really fun. We used these little traps where on the first day and the second day, we used these string traps where you pull them in. There's chicken on the end. You put it on it, hook it on. It's like a hook, kind of. You pull it in on a rope. And we caught a couple crabs doing that with it. We had a net so we could scoop them out when it was close. And we had these other things. We've got 6, a rope, and we got the hook things, and we attached it to this big crab catching thing. It was probably like half the size of the table, but just circle. So it was pretty big, and we caught a couple of crabs and stuff. But we got home and we got 8 5-inchers, and then some other people gave us some other crabs. And you weren't supposed to catch females, but there was one female in the ones that the other people gave us. But we got home and we cooked up the crabs, and they were awesome. Awesome. I loved them. They were awesome. Harper liked them too. Everyone liked them.
I don't think Theo ate any.
You did?
Theo doesn't like creepy crawly. Anything that looks creepy, he doesn't want any part of it.
No.
He had a lot of fun playing in the water.
Yeah.
And in the mud. He almost lost a shoe. He screamed at one point, like, "Hey, I'm dying," kind of scream. And we all turned around, and he was like up to here in the mud, just, and had to pull him out. So that's where the kids also lost their shoes the day before. Each lost a shoe.
Here we are, look, day 2. And we brought back up this one and the biggest helper, mud bug. Look at this kid.
Look at your daddy, Theo.
Theo, look at me. Theo, look at me. Look at that.
Why don't you show the hole he came out of?
They're catching minnows. We're trying to catch crabs.
2 minnows. One of them was ice cold before I put it in this, but I put it in
And
the...
this is how Theo got muddy. He fell into this hole. But fortunately, unlike yesterday, Harper fished out his shoe. What is it, Theo?
Hot, Mom.
We caught a couple, huh? Theo, say we got a couple.
Go back.
Yeah.
Get out and back.
Well, we're keeping them. Hopefully we catch a couple more. We've actually caught a whole lot, but they have to be at least 5 inches for you to keep them, and it seems pretty difficult to catch a 5-incher. And apparently the crabs have to be 5 inches from males and 5 inches from the tip to the tip of their shell.
Yeah, like the points.
And I don't know how.
We just measured something, like we found a stick that was about that size, measured it, broke off a piece, and we used that because you ain't getting down there to measure every one of them with the...
Right, yeah, they don't sit still for you. But, yeah, so, and I don't know if there's just no law enforcement in Massachusetts. I don't know. And on Mississippi coast, there will be people that will stop you to measure the fish. But I think we were the only people only keeping 5 inchers. Like everybody else was just keeping everything.
I can't imagine picking meat from a crab this big.
Literally, like that big.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see. Tiny crabs. But we did end up getting...
Yes, a family that was leaving at the same time as us, they had some, and they were like, "Here, you can have ours." And so we just dumped them in with ours, and when we got home, we noticed one was fairly small, and one was a female, so we had some.
But it was good. I think we ended up with 12.
Yeah.
Which was good, because we used our Instant Pot. I don't know how many would have fit in there.
12 fit really well.
11. One of them died.
Yeah, one of them died, so we didn't eat it.
Apparently you're not supposed to eat the dead ones.
That's what we've read. So, but I was nervous because to boil water on a propane stove takes a long time. But then I looked up and I was like, "Oh, we've done shrimp in the Instant Pot. Surely we can do crabs." Well, I looked it up and it said you can steam them, just like you do vegetables. So what we did was we put the trivet, put the crabs on it, and then we used crab boil packs and just steamed them. I can't remember exactly how long, but I'm going to look it up and I'll tell you exactly what we did in the description so you can see. But it was super easy, and they were really good. Like, really good.
Alright, go back there. That was really cool, especially to be able to, in a place you're not familiar with, go out, catch something, bring it home, cook it, and eat it.
Oh, and I'm also, it was by just a lot of research that I found this place. We researched and drove all around for 2 different days while we were out trying to find somewhere to crab, because Lucas said, "Hey, I want to go crabbing," and we were like, "That sounds fun, let's try it." So, drove all around. Everywhere either had like chain link fences up, or there was nowhere to really park your truck, and we were, not comfortable just pulling off anywhere.
Didn't look like you should be there late at night.
Yeah. So we were like, I don't know. And then I found this place, and it's kind of like in the middle of like I can't remember, like a conservation area, I think. I'm going to share the exact link to like the pin drop, exactly where Clint went. There's a little like pedestrian bridge that goes over the waterway, we were on that, and then on the bank below it, and then if you walk past that too, there's like places you can pull off and stuff. It's down a dirt road, but it was well maintained.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, there were people crabbing everywhere, so I'm assuming you catch them all over. But we stayed by the bridge.
Yeah. Because it was easy to keep the contained, kind of like down the bank.
Well, plus you could do the trot line and drop the hoop nets off of the bridge, so you ever do both, but so it was incredible.
Yeah,
I think the whole state of Massachusetts was amazing.
Yeah, we really enjoyed it. That was 2 core memories, the whales and the crabs.
Right.